Um, you know, it was tough. I was tough the other day, and tough pill to swallow. When you have goals, and you have standards for yourself, and I mean that for us as a team collectively, and you fail to reach those, man, it hurts. But ultimately, man, we failed. We failed in that game. We had a hell of a season, and we overcame a lot of adversity. Guys, ton of guys, man, that we needed to rely on and did, and got us in that position. We got to where we wanted to get to, and then we did not perform. And man, credit Washington. They did what they needed to do, and they played a good game. But when a little bit for us, when you feel like, hey, you got to bring your A game. I think if we bring our B game, we got a chance to win that game, and we didn't bring that. So, that's just a little bit of that's the frustration. I know everybody's frustrated. I know the fans are, certainly our team, coaches, everybody in the organization. So, that being said, I'm real proud of these guys. I am. I'm proud of them because I know the fight they've got in them, and I know what they're made of, and the amount of things that they did overcome speaks volumes. So, as I said in the loss, everybody's got a hand in that. Everybody's got a hand, including me. And so, we definitely did that together. We earned that loss together. But listen, all we can do is move forward. Man, you brush yourself off. I've already gone through the loss of a family member feeling to anger yesterday to now I'm back on my feet ready to roll. And I've acknowledged, I can look in the mirror and say, you know what, you failed, man. What are you going to do about it? So that's where we're at. And move forward, man. Questions?
Look at the way this roster was constructed. We're putting a lot of the foundational pieces together to be here for the same amount of years. Do you feel like the Super Bowl window is still open for you guys going forward?
Yeah, I do, man. I think that's, we talk about that core group is still intact, and some of these guys are now, we've signed some back, some are up on contracts, and that'll be ongoing. But yeah, we absolutely do, and I think the most important thing is you want to know you got your culture, you got your identity, and you got players and that fit into that, and we've got that. Like we got players in every pivotal position you can ask for to have success. And those guys are made the right way. So absolutely our window is open.
How much does that change if you lose one or both of your coordinators?
It can't, right? It can't. Can't allow that to happen. That's my job, is to replenish and find the next man up and the guy who's going to give us the best chance to have success on both sides of the ball. So we're not going to allow that to happen. I'm not. Does it hurt to lose those guys? Absolutely. They're a part of what we've been here. I mean, they've been here for 4 years. They're one of the major reasons why we've been able to get to where we've been, man. We came out of the dump and got to where we're at. So, man, I will forever be grateful for those guys, and our team will. And is it a loss? Absolutely it'd be a loss. But yet, man, we move forward. This train rolls on, and I'll find the next best guys for us.
What did you learn as far as, you want it to be seamless, that transition, if it happens, but, the Anthony Lynn thing didn't work. What did you learn from that situation of making a change and finding the right guy? I mean, you have a lot more experience now, obviously.
Yeah, I think, let me start here from that. What do you learn? Okay, man, I just make sure that I am heavily involved in however we go. Man, I am very offensive heavy, I think is the best way to say that. So certainly picking, I am picking that, but I need to have my checklist done. But then on top of that, I need to be part of the whole process. I need to be a part of the whole process. There was a number of things when that transition took place, hey, your offense, you call it. I'll have some things I want. And then I'm with Brad because we're getting ready for the draft. I'm looking for players, free agency, blah, 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 blah. And so you kind of allow all those things to happen, and it's a blind spot. And it shouldn't be, because that's my area of expertise, if you will. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm going to be involved no matter what, because I think that's best for our offense. But also, golf. This thing is set up for golf to have success with our playmakers, St. Brown, our running backs, the O-line, the whole deal, JMO. And so I want to keep that in place. I want to keep our terminology in place, and I want to make sure that golf is comfortable because he's playing at a high level.
Do you expect to lose one or both coordinators at this point?
I would expect to lose both, but I haven't been told anything. I've got a feeling, but I'm prepared to lose both.
And as you look back on that game against Saturday, you said if you bring your B game, you have a chance. Just in hindsight, why do you think you didn't even bring that B game? Was it a moment get too big, or they start pressing when things went wrong?
Yeah, I think it was just that combination. We just, there was one thing that happened in there that I think 2 weeks ago, Washington plays Tampa Bay, and Tampa is beginning to try to take control of that game. They're up 4 points, and they fumbled, and backed up territory. And then Washington gets it. And that really was, you having the ability to go up 2 scores, and all of a sudden, whoa, you're down. And that kind of happened to us on the first turnover. We have the chance to go up 14-3 potentially, and we fumble that ball. They go all the way down. It just it begins to change the narrative of where you're going. And then, they get some long drives. That one in the third quarter, 8.5 minutes, 15 plays. And now all of a sudden you look up and you're down 2 scores. And I think there's just enough element of, okay, we need to be able to score here. And whatever that does, things that have not crept up or that have had an effect on us did show up. And I do bring this up. I understand, golf, the 4 interceptions, but there was a number of things that took place in 2 of those that there's more than him, and I mentioned, what had happened on the first one, but even the second one, I've got to hit my back foot, ball needs to be, I can't let it rip. I got to move up in the pocket. It's just, it's a combination of a lot of things. And, we were just a little bit off, and normally we can overcome being just a little bit off, and we just weren't quite there. Now, listen, the guys played hard. It wasn't the attitude. It wasn't the effort. It was just the little things. I mean, shoot, man, 5 turnovers. It's like, wow. If we only turn it over 3, we may have a chance. I mean, that's crazy. We're talking about 3. So, and I don't want to take anything away from Washington. I don't, man. They earned that win. They earned it. And but yet, man, we shot ourselves in the foot. And we haven't done it. We did it that game. We just did.
How do you feel about Jameer Gibbs?
Well, yeah, I mean, you always want to give him more carries. You come out of a game like that, and he's had the carries he has. But we were pretty balanced. We were pretty balanced when you take away now we're in gotta-go mode. We're in 2-minute mode. Those are 20 of the reps or something, and so you take that out, you're left with 40 reps, and you're balanced. So it was really, we were having success really no matter what we did. We felt like we could run it, we could throw it, explosives, and then we turned the ball over. So the turnovers created the issue. All of a sudden you're down a couple of scores, and now you're out of what you really feel like you can do. So, it's you really want to dissect it into more than what it is. Here's what it is. We turn the ball over, and then we get behind, and then we turn the ball over, and we get behind, and so it just, we couldn't overcome it,
Yeah, the flip side of that.
I know it's easy in hindsight to look back when a play doesn't work, but many people are wondering, it's 3rd down and 1. You have an offensive line. You have 2 good running backs. Why empty backfield set, and why not run the football in that play on the turnover?
Yeah, we were ready to go for it on 4th, so we'd run it on 4th if it didn't take place. We liked the matchup with Saint on Wagner, and it's a play we've run, man, I don't know, 50 times this year, something, and it just didn't work out, and it was the perfect storm. It was, just a little bit of a slip. Goff has to choke the ball. Then he moves up. We get beat. and protection on the 3 steps, not a 7-step. It's 3 steps. So it happened fast, and then bam, disaster. So I'm with you. I don't worry about it. I'm not second guessing that. And if we were going to do it all over again, I'd do the same thing. So, and I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but it just didn't work out for us.
You guys were so good at forcing turnovers in the beginning of the season. Just 2 interceptions down the stretch, no takeaways Saturday night. What do you think kind of contributed to the limited production?
Yeah, it's a good question. But I'm with you. We hit a drought. We hit a drought again, and even particularly in this game, we knew we were going to need some takeaways, and we just couldn't get them. I thought we may get one on the long one. The Brown, Kirby was coming over the top, and I thought we were about to get that one, and then it comes away, and he gets an explosive catch out of it. We couldn't, man. We punched at some balls. We couldn't get them out. The interceptions really, other than that one I just talked about, we could never apply enough pressure to force him to get rid of the ball in a situation that was going to benefit us. But I know this, we must improve, and we did. It came in highs and lows, man. We had an uptick. We started low, we had an uptick, then it went down in the season, then it came back up, and then we lost it again. So we got to be much more consistent. Look, that team's been good with takeaways, and they did it again in a big way.
What do you have to get, what position group or whatever needs to improve the most, you think, going into next year?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I don't know if I should not answer that yet until I really do self-scout, and I really look at it, game for game, player for player, matchup for matchup, and Brad and I sit down and talk about, man, where do we really need the most help? I know this, when you come away, it's, in hindsight, looking at this after what just happened, you're like, man, can we have enough defensive depth? Is that possible? Because we were loaded. You don't think about losing 1s and 2s in every group down there. So, but you only have 53 spots, And I just go back. Well, we're going to look at everything, but this is one of those bizarre, freakish years. It just, you do the same thing you did a year ago, and you're pretty healthy, and then this year it was one of those years. So, but Brad and I, we're going to get into that over the next 2 weeks. We'll really deep dive our roster. Where do we feel like we can get better? Because ultimately that's what we want to do. We want to bring in more competition, and that competition has got to be right. It's got to match the guys that are in that room. I already told them, I owe them that. I'm not going to bring in somebody that doesn't belong here or doesn't endear themselves to their teammates or doesn't believe in what we believe in. But they got to be able to help us and bring competition. We'll do that wherever that's at.
Obviously, some things will change, some naturally. Do you think there's anything fundamentally that needs to change, or are you one game from change what you stand for, what the team, what that philosophy is?
No, I don't see philosophy changing. I think what we are is what we are, and we've been that way since I've been here. So does that mean a couple of things get tweaked? A couple of things will get tweaked, just the nature of having new coordinators, if that happens. Because you want it to be kind of their flavor, their style with it. But yet, what I want is what we're going to do, and what we're about, and what golf's about, and the runners, and what we are on defense, and the nature of the way we play. I want to play man, you want to play man. So I'm going to pressure a little bit. So these things are not going to go away. We are what we are. But ultimately, it's always going to be about how do we put the players we have in the best position to have success, which in turn gives us the ability to have success. So, and no matter what that is, and sometimes that changes. Could be with free agency, could be with the draft. Maybe you're more in these packages than the others because that's your best players. But no, what we are is what we are.
Regarding your potential coordinator search here, imagine it's something you've had to think about quite a bit, given the interest in Ben and AG. How do you balance internal versus external candidates? Even with the way you've built the roster, you seem to go with the guys you trust. How do you look at looking outside the organization to find those guys?
Yeah, I think there is a balance. Look, the easy thing to say is you want the best candidate. Okay, that's one way to say it, but that's also like saying, give me the best player. All right, give me the right player, give me the right coach, give me the right coordinator. That's really what I'm looking for, more than if you're going to start slapping a best on them. I'll just give an example. A guy like Terrell Williams, I'm fortunate that I believe he's the best, but he's also the right guy. They happen to go hand in hand. But I think we've got guys on staff that I think are more than qualified and would be outstanding in those roles. But that does not mean that I'm not looking outside either. So I want what I believe is going to be as close to what we have been as possible. And we don't lose what we're about and our identity. And Wojo, like what you just asked, we're going to stay true to who we are. And if you're somebody that doesn't feel comfortable with that, then no, I don't. This isn't the job for you. So I'm not going to be in a hurry. I'm not in a mad dash. No matter what happens, I want to do what's right by our team. And what I believe is going to, those guys will be able to stand in front of that room and command respect and get everybody going in the same direction. And we'll ultimately deliver the same message that I'm delivering.
You did say you wanted a guy that fit with Goff. I mean, that was really important. That's obviously understandable. How much do you incorporate his voice into finding the right guy if you have to replace Ben?
Yeah, a lot. I want his input, and to me, that's important. That's important. That's what Ben did a great job of. Is working, those guys working together, and this system was kind of built from the ground up, and it was to help him and for him to be a part of, and so that's huge. He'll have a lot of input. What he says is going to says a lot to me, I should say. Now, is it going to be the ultimate decision? No, it's not. But what he says is going to mean a lot to me.
Dan, the last couple of days I've heard some, including fans, kind of looking for solace by looking back at past championship teams in this area who've gotten close, got knocked back, and then before they eventually break through. Do you think there's something to that stuff to be kind of learned? You mentioned Saturday night, for example, you didn't think you had it ready. I don't know, the extra week, the expectation with the number one seed. But what do you think of that process?
I just go back to this. When you have the right guys and you're made the right way, failure only makes you stronger. Man, you only come back better. I believe that. And unfortunately, I've had a ton of those. But, man, I think it makes you hungry. I'll tell you the hard things is when you, I think when you have success on a certain level and trying to reload and do it again. That's why, I think what New England did for years and Bill Belichick and that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. But with where we're at, we had these goals, we fell short. Man, we met two of those goals this year and in a sense went above and beyond what we were a year ago, but yet we didn't get any further. And, man, that's disappointing. But it also, it eats at me. That drives me, that motivates me. And I got a text from St. Brown at 4 o'clock in the morning after that game, So I know the guys it eats away at, and they're the right guys. They're our guys for a reason. And that's what will always give me hope and let me know we're only going to be better. We're going to come back stronger. We're going to learn from this, and it's just more fuel on the fire is what it is.
I had a similar question, so I'll phrase it this way. Do you want it to be this loss a bruise that heals, or do you want it to be a scar that you wear on your sleeve going into the next season?
Well, I don't know. I told the team, just don't forget it. Don't forget it. I mean, you look across the field at the end of that game. Somebody feels good and somebody doesn't. And just remember that feeling. No different than last year. That's all. I mean, those are the things that you etch in your mind that you don't ever want to forget. And I'm the type of person that replays every bad decision, every bad move in my head over and over on purpose, just to let it burn and eat away at you, because that's the stuff that makes you not want to feel that anymore. is to go back for more. So we fell short. It wasn't good enough. The players are extremely disappointed. I know the fans are. I certainly am. But we will reload and we will be back. Amik's doing well. And as a matter of fact, he contacted me this morning. I have not been able to respond yet, but he's doing well. And who else you asked?
Jerry or anybody, I just want to make sure he wasn't in concussion protocol after.
No. He's good. He's good. I talked to him yesterday, and so he's good. All right. Thanks, guys.